Tonight, a KGW investigation about chemicals that we're all exposed to each day. They're hidden in a lot of cleaners, our personal products, even our carpets.
We wanted to find out just how many of these chemicals our bodies are soaking up. So we asked Keely Chalmers, environmental reporter and mother of 2 young kids, to find out. She's live downtown tonight. Keely?
Joe and Tracy, you may have noticed over the last week, I have been wearing this black wristband. Now, it looks and feels basically like those wristbands you see people wearing for social causes, but this one is different. That's because it is tracking all the chemicals I'm being exposed to this week. We can't see them. Most of them we can't smell, but they are all around us in our environment every day. Pollutants, and not just the kind that come from factories or cars, but the kind that are in the things many of us touch and use daily. Our carpets, beds, shampoos, and lotions. Chemicals that by and large are not regulated. Chemicals experts say are absorbing into our bodies and our kids.
Neurotoxins and exposure to some of these chemicals early in life are changing IQ points just enough so that there's millions more children who are in the range of disabled by these chemicals, and many millions more children who are out of that range of exceptional.
That's scary.
Mother of 3, Bethany Thomas tries to live a healthy lifestyle.
We buy natural products as much as possible,
but still worries about the things she can't control.
I'm nervous about the chemicals that are in the environment that we don't know very much about and the way that they're affecting our health.
Which is why she volunteered to find out exactly what chemicals she and her family are encountering. Bethany is one of 25 volunteers across the country taking part in an experiment by the Environmental Defense Fund. The project is called A Week in Chemicals. For 1 week, she'll wear this special chemical tracking wristband. I also volunteered to wear one. I mark the date and time when I put the wristband on, and 1 week later I'll put it back in the sterile bag and send it off to a lab for testing. A lab that just so happens to be right down the road at Oregon State University.
The way chemicals are used in the U.S. is that we don't necessarily test them before they're put into commerce.
Professor Kim Anderson helped develop the wristband.
50, 60, 70% of the reason you get a disease is not just from your genes, but from your environment.
Over the last year, she and her colleagues tested the bands on hundreds of people from around the world. But the professor says perhaps the most shocking findings came from a test group of 3 to 5-year-olds. Almost all the wristbands worn by the children tested positive for flame retardants.
Very large quantities over the course of just a few days.
And the ones with the highest levels? They were the ones worn by kids who lived in well-vacuumed homes. Turns out the more the vacuuming, the higher the level of flame retardants found. The National Institutes of Health have linked flame retardant exposure to memory and learning problems, lower IQ, and advanced puberty.
And the particles are getting caught, but that the vapor still goes out the back end of the vacuum cleaner.
Every single day we're using all kinds of consumer products that have toxic chemicals embedded in them.
Senator Jeff Merkley has been pushing for stricter federal regulations on chemicals in the products we use.
There's some 80,000 different chemicals, new ones introduced without ever being tested. That's one of the things our legislation will now do. You can't introduce a new molecule without making sure it's safe to use in consumer products.
He says the current laws regulating chemicals in our country are nearly 40 years old, and they desperately need to be updated. He and many others hope by finding out exactly what we're exposed to, we can start to make healthier choices.
You can't change your genes, but you can change your environment.
So tomorrow marks the end of my week-long test. At noon, I will take off this wristband. I will put it in this special bag, and I will send it off to be tested. Now, I'm told scientists will test for some 1,400 different chemicals. The entire process will take about a month. And of course, we will let you know exactly what we find out at that time. Back to you.
Very interesting, Keely. We'll look forward to it. Thank you.